Good morning, Cafe. This is Mark Morales. I'm here to complete the requirements for the certification process for online teaching. So I want to thank Corinne Shelton for a marvelous learning experience. So here we go. The first thing that students would see on the left are these useful categories within Blackboard. Each one of them has a purpose, and I will go through each one of them. The top left one is a recorded video. It is basically this announcements put to video. So in it I cover several topics, a little blurb about myself, the environment that I hope to achieve, a video on how to be successful on taking an online class, even a quiz for people that may think that online is not for them. That quiz will help them out with that. There is some information here in the general information about the course, the book we'll be using. These dates are fictional dates because I'm actually not teaching a class. And here is some online access information, a link to our class, a link to the IT help desk in case people have problems accessing the class, as well as a series of Blackboard how-to videos. So that will help students out. I also created a category over here that when you launch this, is that video series so people can learn how to manipulate Blackboard during the course. There's a mention of the class workload, 6 to 10 hours per week, disabled services for our disabled students, as well as how to contact me, in which I will go in more depth sooner in this presentation. On the left, there's a category for syllabus. In this syllabus, I would meet the requirements of stating clearly for students the goals and objectives of the class. Then this is a fictional class syllabus because I'm not actually teaching a class, but in my syllabus would be learning objectives as well as learning outcomes for students. Within the syllabus, I also have much useful information about the assignments, academic honesty section over here, so students clear about plagiarism and rules surrounding it. There is a rubric for the class, as well as I like this particular note here, because we are college students, it's expected that we write like college students. So I'm very proud of my syllabus, and I will continue with the learning units. It's basically a roadmap for each of the chapters we would be covering in the course. I am going to expand on this particular learning unit and Chapter 4, Managing in a Global Environment. But this is basically a roadmap for students to complete their learning units every week. There is a discussions area for a discussion board. I've created a general Q&A for questions related to the class that students could post for me and view, as well as I've loaded the Learning Activity 1 and Learning Activity 2. Both are assignments. In this area is details about when the posts should be posted. Some of the tips on how to provoke their thought processes in order to submit a good, hearty, robust posting. I've done that for both learning activities. So students will know how they can have a great assignment and learn a lot. There is a home page that I will admit I was never big on home pages, but now thanks to this course, I'm going to be committed to more robust home pages in order to prove I can create home pages and manipulate them. I've created announcements as well as moved some things around, some areas that I think are important for students to have help on, especially the library. Over here, there's Blackboard tutorials. I won't launch them because we'll take you to YouTube. I already made mention of that. The grade book itself is not populated, but if this class were actually taking place, then I would populate them with all of the assessments and assignments. There is instructor contact information. I go more in depth about my phone number, my email address, when is the best time to call or contact me. Emails can be expected to reply within 48 hours. If someone really needs to get in touch with me, then I encourage them to call or text me. And if and when they do email me, there is a mention of how to set up your email so I will see it better. Here are some important class policies that I review. In regards to a couple of things are the drop policy and withdrawal policy, as well as the commitment that I have to working with a student if they start running into problems and they think they might want to drop. There's a late work policy, so students know that if they turn in something late, how it will affect their grade. My grading policy in general, and when people can expect grades to be posted in the grade book, as well as, again, a repeat of the rubric for the class. I've purposely left the tools section in here because this is very valuable for students, of all the various tools offered to them in Blackboard. So with that said, let's go into the learning unit. Again, this is the roadmap, but if you were in week number 2, you would be studying the environment, corporate culture, and managing in a global environment. So you would click here. I purposely set this up as a courtesy for the cafe that I'm not delving into chapter 3, rather chapter 4. So in this area, I've listed out chapter 4, Managing a Global Environment, a description of the chapter and some of the things we'll be learning. I've included some thought-provoking questions that will help students put themselves in a context of studying for managing a global environment. I've listed out the 3 learning objectives that we will achieve for this chapter, 1, 2, and 3. I have outlined the content and tied it back to each learning objective. So content item number 1 would be to read chapter 4, and it supports all 3 of the learning objectives. I also include what to do, a little instruction here to proceed to learning activity 1, managing a global environment, see below. So it guides students here. Content item number 2 supports learning objective number 2 up here. And here I instruct people to watch a video, and I also make mention that they do not have an assignment, but here's a hint. Probably appear on the quiz and midterm. Content item number 3 supports learning objective number 3. They're to watch a video and then perform learning activity number 2 listed below. So in here I've given a description of the learning activity, what they need to do, watch the video, that they have to post a paragraph in Blackboard. Here's some tips, some questions for them to ask themselves to, spark a good discussion, as well as instructions on when to reply, how much the assignment is worth point-wise, a rubric for achieving a higher mark in the class, which I've done on both assignments. And then lastly, it's in support of tying in all of the learning objectives, there is a quiz for the students to take. I say when it's available, some outline of the questions, and when they can expect the grade to be viewed. So when they click on this quiz, it will then launch the quiz and they can take it. So basically that is my shell of my sandbox, and I have met all of the criteria. I methodically went down and checked all of them off. I hope that you are in agreement and that I will receive a passing grade so that I can start utilizing all of this information and have a marvelous online class experience. I've enjoyed teaching face-to-face, but we are on our way to learning in cyberspace. Thank you very much.